Is Hungary real? Do women really change their husbands' diapers? And what came first, Post-it notes or the Walkman? These were the questions that made contestants scramble, blunder, and fail in front of millions. Many of the contestants covered here are responsible for one viral moment that's enough to make them wish they'd never went on a game show in the first place. But Indiana University honors student Julian Batts put in an epically awful performance on the show in 2014 that found him offering not one, not two, but three absolutely baffling answers to puzzles that should have been easy to solve.
The internet calls you the world's worst Wheel of Fortune player.
First, he flubbed the pronunciation of Achilles so badly he didn't get credit for the correct answer. Next, he blew an incredibly easy chance to win a car. Ironically, his on-the-spot decision for a solution to the next incomplete puzzle was on-the-spot dice spin, the actual solution being on-the-spot decision. Batts not only thought dice spin was one word, he also thought dice are a thing people spin. Crazy enough, Batts went on to win the game. Not even Tournament of Champions competitors are immune to making an embarrassing faux pas on national television. In one such Best of the Best competition that aired in the middle of the 2011 to 2012 Jeopardy season, former winner Kara Spack gave an answer that was a little ribald for the clean-cut game show. Alex Trebek read this prompt. If Andy yearns for Brenda, and Brenda cares about Charlene, who pines for Andy, the three of them form one of these. The answer that Jeopardy producers were looking for was, what is a love triangle? But that's not what Spack said when she buzzed in.
Kara.
What is a threesome?
Trebek couldn't help but razz Spack in her uncensored moment, quipping, Kara has obviously had more experience than I. Every round of Family Feud begins with a face-off at host Steve Harvey's podium. A representative from each team steps up and has to name the most popular answer given in a recent survey of 100 random people. The winner earns the right to pass or play for their team. It's important to buzz in first, but it's equally important to ascertain all the necessary information before answering. In a 2011 Family Feud face-off, a contestant named Holly clearly thought she had the perfect answer. Steve Harvey began, name something a woman does for her baby that she... At that point, Holly smashed her buzzer and calmly replied.
Changes his diaper.
The big X and loud buzzer let the audience and Holly know that this was not one of the top 5 answers. Without a word, Harvey turned to Holly and finished reading the question, saying, name something a woman does for her baby that she also does for her hubby. Holly laughed it off, but she was more than a little embarrassed. The entire premise of the 1960s and 1970s favorite, the Newlywed Game, was that freshly wed and supposedly deeply connected couples may not know one another as well as they think they do. This was certainly the case for newlywed contestants Gloria and Joe, although they seemed to share the same gaps in their general knowledge. When asked by host Bob Eubanks,
how many decades will your husband say his mother has lived?
Gloria visibly realizes the trouble her husband Joe would have with this answer, and yet she confidently states 10 decades. The audience laughs like this is ridiculous. A 100-year-old mother-in-law seems far-fetched, but then Joe comes back out. First, he says,
oh, I don't know what a decade is.
Joe then calculates and, in a stunning development, gives the same answer as his wife. Clearly, Gloria and Joe are made for each other. Kelly Pickler's 2007 Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader appearance is legendary. Competing for prize money she planned to donate to the Red Cross and the AARP. Despite having some novel causes she was supporting, Pickler demonstrated her very interesting way she makes an educated guess that's not very educated. For example, Because I Have My Ears Pierced led her to correctly ascertain that Franklin Pierce was indeed a US president. But the pinnacle of Pickler's performance came after she was asked to identify the European nation whose capital city is Budapest. Her out-loud reasoning was fascinating to behold.
I thought Europe was a country. I never even heard of that. I know they speak French there. Is France a country?
Host Jeff Foxworthy eventually stepped in to guide her to embrace one of the game's built-in lifelines and cheat off of her fifth-grader partner, who correctly answered Hungary. Foxworthy and Pickler then proceeded to repeatedly pronounce it Hungary, as the 10-year-olds on stage looked at each other in amazement. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire differs from most other game shows in that only one contestant plays at a time, making for a low-key, intimate scenario where the stakes slowly escalate to the $1 million jackpot. The first few questions are designed to be easy and effortless, to relax the contestant for when the hard thinking begins. In 2006, Tennessee college student Chase appeared on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and made game show history when he couldn't get the first question right. He'd only just introduced himself to host Meredith Vieira, telling her that he'd arrived to shoot the show very late the night before and hadn't slept.
pretty much have coffee flowing through my veins right now.
Perhaps if Samson had more rest and been able to focus, he may not have stumbled right out of the gate. The multiple choice question was, homeowners buy surge protectors to protect their possessions from unexpected surges of what?
I will say B, water flow, final answer.
The look on his face half a second later said it all. The CBS daytime institution, The Price is Right, is split into halves, with the ultimate winner from each squaring off in the final showcase showdown. Presented with an array of luxurious appliances, trips, vehicles, and more, the contestant who gets closer to the total retail price of all that stuff wins the lot. The catch is that they can't overestimate the price. That's an instant disqualification. In a March 2021 Price is Right episode, a contestant named Jennifer was tasked with pricing a collection of prizes that included a new car, a home theater, and a video camera. Jennifer's guess? $23,294. Her opponent, Robert, underbid by $6,083. Leaving Jennifer a lot of leeway to win big. But in the moment of truth, host Drew Carey had some sobering news.
You bid $23,294. Actual price, $23,291.
Jennifer had gone over and thus lost the game by a margin of just $3. The final big cash round on Family Feud is called Fast Money, and for good reason. The winning team from the general rounds sends up 2 representatives to answer 5 rapid-fire questions. The first player gets a mere 20 seconds. The second gets 25. The goal is to get enough correct responses that the total number of both players' answers adds up to 200, bringing with it a huge cash prize. In a 2014 Family Feud episode, contestant Tim Sass undeniably crushed it. He racked up 182 points with 3 seconds to spare. All his relative Anna had to do was come up with 18 points over 5 questions. The problem? Anna didn't manage to score a single point. One can assume holidays have become awkward at the Sass house. Tennessee Williams is one of America's best-known playwrights, and the 1951 film adaptation of his play, A Streetcar Named Desire, won 4 Academy Awards and featured an iconic performance by a young Marlon Brando. Hey, Stella! Not many plays are part of the collective consciousness, but A Streetcar Named Desire is. Or maybe not. In a March 2017 episode of Wheel of Fortune, the puzzle is revealed as a streetcar NA-blank-ED Desire. Either contestant Kevin doesn't know the answer or wants more money, so he opts to spin again. Landing on $600, he guesses K. A Streetcar Naked Desire. Not the title of anything. For years, Saturday Night Live ran a series of sketches parodying Celebrity Jeopardy. Playing off the notion that movie stars and rock gods aren't the brightest people, the sketches featured host Alex Trebek, played by Will Ferrell, growing ever more exasperated. The celebrity contestants' monumentally dumb answers were born out of their disconnection from reality and lack of common knowledge. In April 1998, The Real Jeopardy aired a few nights of celebrity invitational games. The first pitted MTV sports star Dan Cortez against TV legends Jason Alexander of Seinfeld and Carol Burnett. This real-life Celebrity Jeopardy could have been an SNL sketch. Trebek read this prompt. One common shape of the stomach is like this 10th letter of the alphabet. To score points, all any of those contestants had to do was name a letter. After a few seconds of complete and telling silence, Cortez buzzed in, guessing L. Alexander and Burnett, meanwhile, recited the alphabet and counted on their fingers while giggling. Venturing a guess, Alexander suggested K. Wrong again.
Do you think we should go to commercial?
Finally, an exuberant Burnett worked out that the 10th letter of the alphabet is J. Jeopardy enjoys a reputation as the brainiest of game shows. Contestants have to be pretty smart to compete, combining a wide breadth of knowledge with rapid recall. Jeopardy players also have to be able to perform fairly complex mental mathematical tasks. When determining how much to wager on the final Jeopardy question, they have to consider their knowledge of the topic while calculating exactly how much money they can stand to lose or need to win to edge out their opponents. Over a series of Jeopardy episodes that aired in October 2017, U.S. Navy officer Manny Abel proved his smarts to the world. He won 2 straight games and then a third, thanks to the combination of his math abilities and the other contestants' simultaneous flameouts. Entering Final Jeopardy, Abel stood in 3rd place behind contestants Carlos and Fran, who were tied with $12,300. The last and decisive prompt read, "It's the only country that borders both the Caspian Sea and the Persian Gulf." Carlos said Azerbaijan, Fran said Tibet, and Abel said Iraq. The correct response was Iran. But since Carlos and Fran bet everything while Abel only bet $999 of his $1,000 total, he won this most lackluster game of Jeopardy! As much as it can be a dazzling display of knowledge executed swiftly, Jeopardy involves plenty of luck, intuition, and buzzer technique.
I try to get in quick. Alex finishes up, you give it like half a syllable, and then you go.
Not even the most brilliant Jeopardy contestant knows everything about everything. They've each got their specialties and favorite categories. In an episode airing in January 2016, all 3 Jeopardy competitors must have felt very confident when the final Jeopardy category popped up. It was state capitals. The statement, as read by Alex Trebek, teased, "A 1957 event led to the creation of a National Historic Site in the city, signed into law by a president whose library is now there too." When asked to place their individual wagers, contestants Mike and Claudia were tied for first place, with $13,800 each, with Randy trailing at $6,000. But then, Mike, Claudia, and Randy all bet everything on Final Jeopardy, and all 3 got the question wrong. For the record, it's Little Rock, Arkansas. Technically, the game ended in a 3-way tie, since all 3 contestants finished with nothing.
Losers, in other words.
In December 2010, engaged couple Gabe Okoye and Brittany Matey were the very first contestants on Fox game show $1 Million Money Drop. Okoye and Matey answered so many trivia questions correctly and bet so astutely that they amassed $880,000. Then host Kevin Pollak asked, which of these was sold in stores first? The choices were the Macintosh computer, the Sony Walkman, and Post-it notes. Okoye was pretty sure Post-it came first, while Matey thought the Walkman was the right answer. Okoye ultimately persuaded his fiancée, and they bet $800,000 of their fortune on Post-its and the remaining $80,000 on the Walkman. Matey was right. Walkman was the right answer. The team instantly saw $800,000 slip away, and then were so rattled they lost the rest of the money in the remainder of the game. But then came the internet chatter. What if $1 Million Money Drop got it wrong? It turns out Post-its were available before the Walkman. They were invented in 1977 and sold in some stores before a national rollout in 1980. Executive producer Jeff Applehoff released a statement saying,
"The information our research department originally obtained was incomplete. We feel it is only fair to give our contestants Gabe and Brittany another shot."
The series was canceled after 1 season.